I'm curious how long these are going to be now that I'm a paying subscriber of the video service I'm using. Clever plan there, people. Do recorder. It's like, oh yeah, you can use it for free. Until we entice you into paying for it, yes. Where am I going? Oh, darn it. Do I really have to scroll? Hold on. So this was kind of funny. Sorry I started without you. Again. This I looked at because, to be honest, minus the green, and I don't wear hats, this is me. So I thought that was interesting. Yes, so let's go to where we were with Gary. I think we were on 10. If I remember correctly. Tony Robbins, fitness, business. Dude, I have a lot to go through. I want to go through them all. I guess this is going to be, what did I call it? The Garyvee crypto show. Maybe I'll change it. Who knows, but I just did number 1 and that's kind of creepy. Look at these action faces. Hold on. I drill someone directly in the face. Please. To just the amount of passion and direct communicative skills this man deploys impresses me. Like, those need to be TV, they need to be t-shirt pictures. Like, look at those. What? Right. 10, 11, diplomas, not GPAs. Oh, I had this thought the other day. How did it go? I feel like Twitter is going to be your new resume. And your willingness to engage people in conversation is going to be how you update it, literally. What you learned that day at work, that's what you can talk to someone about. So it'll literally be a forever updating thing. Ridiculously... Oh no, I was partway through that one. Here we go. They might be like, why did you point to that? Jordan! I'm kidding. That was the best. You may need a partner, Robert. You might be the greatest jabber in the world, and you may need a partner right hooker.
right? And so I just happen to be both in one amazing body, but the fact of the matter is you may need a partner where you do the jabbing and she or he does the right hooking.
Chad asks, how do I get the cute old lady who keeps accidentally calling my house to stop?
Chad, one thing I pride myself in is actually really paying attention. I'm really good at paying attention to mannerisms. I feel for the room. I also listen to words. You said cute old lady, which means you actually like it. And so what I would tell you to do is flip the script. I would say go on the offense. So the next time she calls, why don't you try to engage in a 25-minute conversation with her and actually form a relationship? One that can go deep into your heart and maybe bring value to your overall soul.
Matthew asks, is it better to update your social networks once a week with great content or
Deep.
daily with poor content?
Matthew, why does it have to be one or the other? Why?
Put it out. Put it out. Put it out.
I am so tired that people think that this is kind of like the thing that pisses me off the most. Oh, Gary, I see you hustle so much, but I don't work hard. I work smart. Well, hey, dickface, I work both. I work ridiculously hard and I work obnoxiously smart. And that is my answer to this question. Why not just put out a lot of content often that is quality? Why does one have to suffer or the other? That is a mistake mentality. That is a middle mindset. Go all in. You can do both. I do.
Simon asks, how much of success is confidence, skill, and luck?
Confidence is big.
You know, and some people don't like to hear this.
Or at least that's what it did for me.
People get really pissed. A bunch of you will put in the comments right now. But the truth is, I am a lucky guy. Like, I was born in the Soviet Union. I could have been my dad, who was born 20 years earlier in the Soviet Union, and wouldn't have come to America until my 23rd, 24th, 25th birthday, which would have put me far behind the 8 ball for what I'm accomplishing. So the fact that I was born in the Soviet Union during the Cold War and happened to be born during a time where Israel and America teamed up to make a trade with Russia for wheat. I was traded for wheat that allowed me to get out from political asylum in the late 70s and come to America and live the American dream has a level of luck, right? And so luck is part of the equation. Now, do I think I'm lucky? I do not think I'm lucky because the confidence, which is great parenting, by the way, maybe a little luck in that, one could debate, and definitely just kind of the overall skills and the hustle, which is DNA. I don't know if you can be taught to work your face off. So I think it's just a mixture. I always talk about a great wine. Show Steve, he loves wine. The wine. I always think a great wine is never 100% Cabernet. Never 100%.
I notice
a nice little Meritage.
he talks to the camera
To answer your question, I think
on
it's a
these
blend of
and
all
not
of the above. Some people, look,
the ones I'm watching in 2019.
Twitter and Facebook. I don't feel super. Trying to figure out how I'm getting healthy. Yeah, dude. I love his raw. Like, he really is like the only person who doesn't care. That's what I told him to do. I think it's a blend of all of the above, and I think that that is something that people need to recognize, feel comfortable with, bet on your strengths.
But I like that they're giving people's handles.
Facebook is still effective, even though it's pay-to-play model and throttling.
Nick, I don't know if you've been paying attention to what I've been screaming about for the last 100 days, but it's called Facebook Dark Posts. Google it. Watch it on YouTube. A bunch of people show you how to use it. Not only do I think it's effective, I actually think right this second, as I tape the show, Facebook is the best direct selling marketing platform in the world. Think about what I just said. Google AdWords, phenomenal. Buying retargeted banner exchange on ads on the exchange, incredible. Facebook Dark Posts. Where did the organic reach come from in other places? You didn't build a website and were mad at Google if you weren't the first result for a term. You recognized that it treated you the way it treated you based on the quality of what you were executing. Really no different than Facebook. Plenty of people getting tons of organic. Sure, there's some twinkling of the tools, but that's their algorithm. No different than Google. You don't get organic free reach from an email marketing campaign that you spend money on buying the email list or on banner ads or on anything else you do in marketing. And so because it started as an organic only platform and people treated it like email and you thought everybody who was following you would see it, doesn't mean that the emotion that went away doesn't mean that it isn't great. As a matter of fact, Facebook has never been a better product. I just believe it. I mean, I don't know what else to really say. Thanks for watching episode 10 of the Ask Garyvee show. The question of the day. I've noticed the last couple of questions have gone really, the comment section has gone really to the question. And what I'm trying to do, we're very early here. Yes, I'm one of the greatest video bloggers of all time in a prior life. Just kidding. Not really. But I need more feedback. So I asked you in today's question today, critique today's show. Give me some feedback. You keep asking questions, I'll keep trying to answer them. Oh yeah, subscribe. On this episode, I talk about wine, Reddit, and becoming a YouTube sensation. Hey everybody, this is Garyvee, Nerd Chuck, and this is the Ask Garyvee show, episode 11. Steve, can you give me a 1? 11. Hey guys, super excited for episode 11. Fun fact on number 11. 11 is worn by the sleeper last pick that you should take in your fantasy draft this year, Jeremy Curley. He's going to have a big year.
Chip asks, if you owned a winery in Napa, what would your left jabs look like?
Chip, thanks for the question. And honestly, I've been reading the feedback. Thanks for the critiques yesterday. Some of you took it a little too far. I mean, what I was really saying from critique the show was give me compliments, not actually nitpick and find something to upset me. But anyway, I want to start answering these questions in a different little bit of a way. And so thank you guys. You guys continue to evolve this show. Big shout out to people that have been tweeting and Instagramming the fact that it's been interesting to watch the show evolve from 1 to 10. It is pretty crazy for the amount of shows I've done and videos I've done to watch it actually have an evolution, even with intention. You agree with that, Steve? Josie? Zach, do you agree with that?
Yes.
So to answer your question, I'm going to answer it in a way that I hope everybody who's listening doesn't miss the point that this works for everybody, not just wineries. If I was a winery in California, I would actually make my jabs Wine Library TV. Let me explain. Could you imagine a winery in Napa Valley did a show where they tasted wines from all over the world that were not from Napa and critiqued them and gave their thoughts? All of a sudden, you start looking at them as an authority instead of somebody who's just pitching their wine, right? Everybody wants to go the route of let's show the day in the life, and they take video of cropping the crap and tasting. Nobody cares about that. They'll care a little bit about the dog running around, and if you teach them the dog's name is Goldie and make more videos about Goldie, they'll care about that. But where they really want, and what you really want, is utility. The reason this show exists is this is the next coming of my ability to give utility. I'm giving content that actually is a little more tangible. Now, it's opinion, so take it for what it's worth. But you've decided you're going to allocate your time.
Hold on a second. And we're back.
Become important enough to you, or you're curious enough about my POV and brings value. Value comes in entertainment. Value comes in a lot of forms. But I really do think opinion, context, information, these things are very powerful. And so to answer your question is, I would just review other wines from the world and give my 2 cents on them, because then you're leveling up and not just pitching. In the same way that everybody here, instead of talking about their products or their ebook or their blog, can talk about other stuff. Hence, look at the structure of this show. These are questions from you that I have to respond to, thus they matter more to you. You have to put out things that matter more to others. That's a little bit of my curveball. Take it for what it's worth.
Ivan asks, do you respond to posts, tweets, emails, messages, or get your staff to? Some people delegate this. Do you?
Ivan, one of the by the way, I selfishly, this is a humble brag question. Put a humble brag hashtag. Ivan, the thing that I might have the most pride in the world is that I have responded, that every tweet that has ever come out has come out from these 2 fingers. Every email, these 2 fingers. Now the content, Mr. Stunwin here helps me quite a bit to make it actual English. But look, Steve, I mean, you're here, and I know you're not a sellout, so let's go. I mean,
tweets, the emails?
No, not that.
Those are already words.
That I already said. We know. I do get very nervous that it has to be like my transcribe. Like we had like a lot of thanks Zach, thanks for the head nod. Like we had a calibration of like early on you're trying to help me in my limited adjectives and like but like I do put like that's an important part.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all the base materials this guy, 100%. I just add the sprinkles. Not even sprinkles. I just like rearrange the plating.
He turns it into English, guys. I can't write for shit. And so at the end of the day, it is something that matters so much to me. So I do it, all me, no assistant, no social media person, no Vayner employee that's really good that captured my voice, that was my fan for 9 years, none of that.
Chef asks,
I like that.
what food or foods have you added to your new lifestyle that you're enjoying the most?
Chef, once again, I went with a different tactic. There's no foods that are new. No, we went a different route. Mike, who you saw in the last episode, we went to the supermarket and I told him the things I liked that were conceivably healthy. Mangoes, shellfish. Luckily for me, I like everything. And so there has been no additions. This has been about subtractions.
Arsh asks, how can I converge my vision of being a YouTuber with my parents' vision of getting a university degree?
There's a very simple answer. Most people say, what college did you graduate from? Not what was your GPA. So you should easily be able to become a solid D student or C or whatever is needed to graduate, which should give you the flexibility to become a massive YouTube sensation.
Chelsea asks, what are your thoughts about Facebook banning like-gating soon?
Chelsea, I actually think this is, look, I think Facebook is maybe one of the worst PR'd companies in the world. They've done so much more good than people realize. They are the gold standard of the future of marketing because they do so many things for their users because their users are their business and they understand it. By not allowing brands to like-gate or like call like hardcore like actions, they're actually helping brands and businesses and small businesses understand that it's not about getting people to like be rewarded. Win a free crown if you subscribe to this show. Good, you understand what I'm doing there, right? Win a free crown if you subscribe to this show. That's not going to do me any good if you really care about gold crowns. And the amount of people that built their fan bases on on Facebook in 2009 and 10 by offering free iPads was insanity because those were Apple fans. They weren't fans of your cereal. So I think Facebook, once again, is making a hardcore move that is actually helping the users and the businesses.
Greg asks, your thoughts on Reddit? Not social media, or do you find it useful?
Greg, Reddit probably sits firmly in like one of the 3 or 4 places on the internet that I underachieve on and wish I did more with historically and spent more time with. I don't spend as much time in the Reddit community as I should. Steve's a huge fan of Reddit, and as Steve became a bigger part of my life and somebody I cared about, it actually quietly made me check it out more. We did an AMA with my book. We're trying to do one right now for social media.
Our social media?
Yep, our social media, so we're going to try to do that in September. I got an email in my inbox. I know you've been asking, it's been my fault. Do I find it useful? The question is, are you asking me as Gary, the human being, do I find it useful? The answer is not that much because I'm not taking advantage of that amazing world that's been created there. Do I find it useful as a marketing
That vertical
tool?
pin has my
I have
attention.
looked at it that way and feel like it's a very interesting place because that community is very solid. You don't want to jump in and spam.
I don't think that's his cell
Reddit's done a
phone.
nice job creating some advertising structure that I think is consumable to the community and good for the brands. It's up to the brands and their creative shops to make it Reddit-y. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. But if you understand the slang, the lingo, the vibe of that community, and you can play in that space, I find it useful as a place that business can be done, but business 2020, which is really respecting the community, or you are going to get annihilated. Thank you, my friends, for watching episode 11 of the Ask Garyvee show. My question of the day is very simple. What are you doing this weekend? Thanks so much, guys, for the first couple of weeks of the show. As many of you know, because this is a very hardcore group, haven't really started the big promotion
my
yet of the
haircut.
show. I'm going away for 2 weeks coming up. I'm a little bit scared that you guys are going to fall off while I'm gone, but it's the last 2 weeks of August, and you should be spending time with your family and chilling out, because that's what happens in America, inspired by Europe. And I kind of expect D-Rock to probably make a mixtape of the first 11 shows. That was me basically telling him to do that, and I will be back with vengeance. You keep asking questions, I will keep trying to answer them.
And all this reading got me hungry. I got you. What's that? Who's ringing the door? Hello?
I'm Postmates.
Who's mate?
Yeah, you guys ordered the food. Here you go. Oh, no. You're good.
At least take a tip.
No, you tip through the app. I love you. Download the app, all right? You could at least send it back.
What are those gentlemen's relationship to each other in that
And we
show?
go dark, and we go high. Everybody, this is Garyvee, Nerd Chuck, and you're watching episode 12 of the Ask Garyvee show. Fun fact for episode 12, the number 12, the number of the Hall of Famer Joe Namath, the greatest quarterback in New York Jets history. It's good to be back. Let's get to it.
Digitalk asks, as a freelancer, should you ever work for exposure only?
Mary, congrats on being the, by the way, the first person to get 2 questions asked on the Ask Garyvee show. And I know, I'm going to see in the comments, everybody's going to be like, you haven't even answered mine yet. Now you've answered Mary's second question? Yes, she asks good questions. But this question, I really want to answer because I've been having a lot of Twitter conversations lately. And very honestly, for the basic 8 to 10 years that I've been in the tech game, meeting all these wonderful people, especially when you think about the tech game, when I first got into it, it was very...
What are these trinkets
and much
next to
more
him?
zen, less businessy. Characters like me probably ruined it. This is a big debate. This is something that I sit on a very firm line on, which is I do think that people should do things for free, for exposure. I still do things for free, and I get very compensated for my time and my efforts, and I still do it. And somebody will say, I had an easier base, people have to pay the bills. But the fact that people don't take into account that there is strategy in doing things for exposure that then lead to bigger money in the future, this is not about elitism, like some people jump on Twitter and say, pay the people. You gotta pay for the quality of work. I agree. But one needs to understand that money is not the only way to pay. Giving people
Attention.
the platform, the exposure is an absolute monetary way to compensate them in the way that I define monetary. Listen, by the way, you might fully disagree with me, and that's because you've gone
Like this.
and I respect that. But I just don't know a single person that has achieved success without doing a solid percentage of things for free as a jockeying chess move to their success. So if you're asking me, the answer is yes. If you don't do it and you only pay to play, I get it. And by the way, it ebbs and flows. I now respond to many of you. No, I cannot speak at this event unless I get my fee, because I promised my wife I will not travel without getting my fee because I've got 2 young kids, this and that. And so like it changes. I will not be sold by anybody that it is inappropriate to do some spec work because I really believe in its strategy.
What's up, Gary? It's Mitch Schneider, and I've got a question for you. The company I'm working for has a great story. We're putting up great content on all our social channels, but we're not seeing the engagement we were hoping for. Is it worth it to promote our Facebook posts, our tweets, and our LinkedIn posts in order to gain more engagement on what we're putting out there? What do you think? Are they worth it?
I think they're worth it. Now, I think they're worth it if you actually target it properly. So you used promote, and I would say target, meaning Twitter, you can target actual words that people are using to get even more narrow into who you're trying to target. Facebook dark posts, we've at nausea talked over these 12 episodes of Facebook dark posts. I do think you should target, but, and this is why I turned my face to the camera while you were asking the question, my friend, you're deeming it to be great content. Maybe it just isn't, right? And I think that that's a dangerous thing that a lot of people really need to figure out, which is you may feel good of how it looks, But the reason I wrote jab, 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 right hook is it contextually proper? Does it have the right hashtags? Is it linking properly? Do you have the right amount of length? Are the pictures proper? Are you putting the logos in the right spots within it? Please triple check. You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, they say. And so please triple check that you're checking all the boxes of doing all that stuff properly. Number two, I do believe that if you can afford, if you're lucky enough, and a lot of people watching aren't lucky enough, but if you're lucky enough to have the resources to target a segment and boost up its awareness, if that content is good, that is going to spread like fire for you, and it's going to pay much bigger dividends long term. So I am a fan of it.
Eric asks, what's the last new skill you learned as a result of taking an interest in someone else's passion, hobby, or job?
Eric, this is a really interesting question. I'm trying to figure this out. You know, one that's emerging a little bit, believe it or not, but I'm not going to accept it, is golf. AJ has fallen in love with golf, my bro, and you know, I don't know if I'm picking up a skill, but I just say I'm a little bit. I'm out there. I've been like thinking, like, should I get into it? I just can't commit to the 5 hours that it takes to play, and so I'm scared. People get addicted with golf, so that would have been the answer, but I've been luckily able to hold off that insanity of the golf drug. I would probably say, and this is a weird answer, I'd probably say respecting data. You know, I think that I believe in targeting and big data and all this new digital stuff because Eric Kastner and John Castmanis, when they started VaynerMedia as developers, showed me the other side of marketing, which was retargeting and CRMs and all these things. And so that was probably the last skill that I remember really picking up. Yeah, I would say respecting data.
Sorry about that.
John, you've asked a question that I've been really excited to share with the world because it works. It is very dark. Like, this is dark. So, like, I know that most people, when they share my content, say, beware potty mouth McGee. This one's beware. You may be, like, frightened with a little bit of, like, a tear drop on your left eye. Left. I'm going to tell you the truth. Because that was the commitment when I decided to do this, which, you know, obviously I'm able to, well, Steve's curating the questions, but I can always kibosh them. So it's when I start doing these live or when we do live events or we take this show on the road and it's audience participation, then it'll really be the full Monty. But for now, I'm answering them and I'm answering them truthfully. This is a dark one. I'm stalling because it's dark. It's dark. When I'm in a funk, I literally close my eyes, put myself into a place where something remarkable happens to me. CNN names me the greatest man of all time.
It's not what I wanted to do.
Really, like silly things like I get on a list of being the best entrepreneurs, or Birchbox sells for $4 billion and I make a lot of money, or the full extreme when I'm in my most funk, I literally try. Usually I do things that are realistic and happen within a 1 year window, but in my deepest funks, I'll project. This is harder. This is a little more role play because when I think about stuff that's going to happen intimately, it feels real. But I'll dream about buying the jets, and I'll think about those great things, and then I literally make pretend that Birchbox sells and I make millions and millions of dollars, and that's the phone call, and the next phone call is from my hysterical sister telling me that my mother died in a car accident. And I really do that. And I really go there in a very, like...
That sounds familiar.
Like, I'm very, as you guys know me, I'm an emotional character. I go there, and it really does something interesting for me. I really don't care that I made $7 million if my mom died. I just really don't. And I can, even as I'm telling you this right now, I can feel it. I can truly feel how little I care about that in comparison to what I would feel with that pain. And very honestly, it just sets me straight.
That's how I
It
think.
just reminds me what my priorities are, and it allows me to understand that the health of my the fear and the shivers I get when I think about their passing in real life, like them dying. And it just sets me so straight. It just makes me realize how non-important losing that client was, or that best employee, or that deal, or that opportunity.
It's interesting
Passing on Uber
because I find myself say? That bloody siren. The music doesn't distract me, but the sirens do. What is he talking about?
$100 million in paper, so they gotta go public. But it's
Like, today I was sitting here thinking, if XRP went to, say, some number, and it was a crazy number that I had, and actually let me do the math, and I will tell you how much money it would have been. Yeah, so the crazy number that I came up with, multiplied by my bags, and let me tell you, this was a crazy number. Like, relative from where we are today, this is ludicrous. Just to prepare you for this, I was thinking to myself, all right, if tomorrow XRP went to $600, I would conduct myself throughout my whole entire day as if I had the $60 million there all along. Like, I wouldn't even pause to consider it. $60 million. So when he says, the efforts that he would go to ensure his family's safety are so big that it's bigger than $7 million. It's bigger than $30 billion. It's bigger than 100 trillion, quadrillion. I'm making a similar point he's making, but we're making it in two different ways. If I had $60 million tomorrow, the only thing different that I would do, hold on a second. Sorry. What was I going to say? So he cares the most about his family's well-being. And I care the most about getting compensated for my ideas. I don't know. What do I care the most? No. Obviously, that I'd like to work from anywhere in the world on my cell phone. That's what I care about right now. Anyway, now I've gone off track.
It's something I can deal with because the truth is it's just not what makes me happy. And more importantly, I'm so happy that everybody I love has been healthy for so long. Losing grandparents early has put me in that position, so a negative is a positive, and that's what I do. I go in a very strange cocoon and make pretend the people I love the most die.
Garyvee, Amy, S. SavvySexySocial.com. Maybe you remember me. Hi. My question is, I'm finding that the more I travel, more events I go to, it's like this major intensity, constant high of meeting people and great content. It's so insane. And then I come home to total normalness. And sometimes that is such a drastic change that it actually feels low. When it's not actually that low, it's actually just normal, but you're just coming down from such a consistent high of being at a 5-day conference, and it's crazy. How do you stay level between all the
She's bragging about herself.
You actually instill the intensity in people when you go speaking and all that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to find some balance in my life, Gary. I'm trying to find the balance. I think you've got it. I think you got it. Help me out.
Amy, you've got me pegged. I do have it. I am
I don't
equally
give a
as
fuck.
fired up sitting by myself on a 6-hour flight in an airplane as I am speaking in front of 7,000 people, being the person that is the Puff Daddy of that event, which is the hype artist. Yeah. And so, I'm not sure. Maybe it's very similar to the question that we just did.
100%.
I do have that balance because I'm thankful for what is in front of me. I very much live in the moment. One of my flaws and/or my gifts is that I'm so into what I'm doing of that moment that I do forget about my family or my responsibilities because I'm so zoned in. Right now, I literally could care less of what's going on with anything outside this cube because I'm zoned into the Ask Garyvee show. So I'm very all in on what I'm doing. And so when I come back from that high, first of all, I'm pretty much high all the way. I mean, I can create high from calm if I need it because I'm hyped and excited. Yeah, I don't. This is an answer that's very difficult. I wanted to show this answer because I appreciate the question because I think a lot of people think about it. But the truth is, this is something that comes very natural to me. It's intuitive. I would just ask all of you, and I talk a lot about this. I tweeted out quite a bit over the last 2 weeks about my grateful kind of post on Medium. I think gratitude, Amy. I mean, just be grateful. Be grateful that you have some downtime and it's just normal and it's nice and you get to see your core friends and family, and be very grateful that you're lucky enough to go to 5-day tech raves where you can be on that high.
Duke asks, what would you say AJ has learned and applied from you in business? And would he be willing to answer this question on the show?
Duke, memo alert. This is the Ask Garyvee show. This is not the Ask AJV show with no silent E's. This is my show. I answer the questions. There is no AJ answering the questions. It's me. I do it. It's my show. Take it away, bro.
Duke, thanks so much for the question. It's a really good one, and one that I could probably spend a couple of hours talking through, but I know this show is long enough already. Trying to think through it, like I said, there's a lot I could go through. I think one of the biggest things is perspective. I think that in the course of growing a business very fast, there's a lot that gets thrown at you, and there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. And it's really keeping the highs not too high and the lows not too low, and really taking a step back, thinking about the wider impact of everything that's happening, and really just not stressing yourself out too much. I think every day goes by, a lot happens, but you can really just focus on what's important, think about the big picture. That's been massively beneficial for me as we've grown the business together at Vayner. Another huge one for me is just the value of the team and HR, and just really focusing on personalizing the experience with your staff. I think, when focusing on HR, I think there's a temptation to be a little bit too by the book, follow a process, a handbook of how to handle reviews and how to handle situations. And we very much take a look at every situation that comes our way with anybody that we work with, and really personalize that and really think about the situation and the impact of it, and don't use a cookie cutter system. I think just really focusing on HR, we grew very fast at Vayner. We went through a spurt of roughly from 12 employees to 25 employees to 100 to 250 to 400. And when you're growing that fast, I think the two things that I mentioned, really keeping perspective and big picture thoughts, and really making sure that you're focusing on the team and the team within, and focusing on
That's a
their
good
growth,
answer.
how they work with you, how they work with each other. And those are the two biggest things I think I've taken away from working with Gary and having him as my brother, my business partner, and my mentor, and my best friend.
Appreciate it, bro. Nice answer. That is episode 12 of the Ask Garyvee show. This is the first week of football. There'll be a lot of football talk the rest of the week. Get ready for it. Raider Nation, you are going down. You keep asking questions. Oh, wait. I was about to close, but the question of the day. See? A little rusty from all that kind of that was me looking at my tan, if you were wondering what the hell that was. Question of the day. Let's make it football. What is your lock of the week? What is your survival pool pick? Your pick, no spread, survival pool pick. Who's your lock for this week 1 of the NFL season? My favorite week of the year, especially now that school's finished.
Hello.
I'll keep trying to answer them.
Got it. Thanks, man.
Chuck, and you're watching the Ask Garyvee Show, episode
13. See, when was this? September 2014. Where was I? 2014. That was before Bitcoin. Hold on. We're back.
that get pissed off so quickly. I'm pretty much a love and zen kind of guy for all my intensity. I think that throws people off a little bit in reality. Obviously, if you punch me directly in the face or hurt somebody I care about right here, that would be bad. But overall, the actual answer to your question is hypocrisy and cynicism. Those are the two things that I can't consume. The amount of cynics out there, it's really one of the funnier kind of cards that people play on social media specifically. I see it played less in real life. Really bothers me. And boy, if you're complaining about something you actually do, and I have some friends and family members who play that, that just drives me up my wall.
Vineyard Paul asks, how do I use Snapchat for a winery?
Vineyard Paul, I had to use this question because the image is incredible. Loved it. Great way to ask a question. If you want to get your question on Ask Garyvee's show, you need to be a little bit creative, like Vineyard Paul. All right, so Snapchat. Here's what people have to understand. I predict, I'm going to hardcore here, I predict in 2016 that Snapchat will have a number 1, 2, or 3 spot in the most important apps in the world from the 13 to 40. Let me say it again, 40-year-old sector, maybe even 45, 50. That the 25 to 50-year-old sector on Snapchat in 2016 is going to blow away the far majority of people who are watching this episode. And so, let me give you a fun fact on how to get good at it or start playing with it. The one big creative play that I see on Snapchat that makes it so different is the notion of taking a picture and then drawing on top of it. Some of you that follow me have seen the things, the weird spider, the raindrops. I'm starting to play with it a little bit. I'm a big fan of that. It opens up enormous creativity. Oh, D-Rock. Some of my funny snaps. I don't know where you're putting them, D-Rock, but and so I'll give you those.
Seriously.
Yeah. So, if you're a winery, take pictures in the winery, vineyard, of the bottle.
Mind blown. Look at this thing.
I do think that people will enjoy that. There'll be a little ha-ha. You can do some little contests by running in. I think drawing on top of the images, because the images on Instagram,
that is
crazy.
crazy.
Is a real creative variable. It is a difference maker. The attentions on Snapchat, I am bullish on that burst.
Hi Gary, my name's Kiki. I'm from Fitter, a small fitness app available on the App Store. We're a 4-person team, and we are seeing a rapid growth in our customer base. Currently, we have a very intimate customer experience, but I'm kind of worried that as we grow, we may have more and more trouble with maintaining that. Is there any advice you could give me? Thanks.
Keek, there's some serious advice that I can give you, which is if you grow, thank God, you will make money or you will raise money. Those are two things that happen when you grow. And you will take some of that money and you will apply it to hiring more human beings to continue to scale your 4-person team to a 23-person team that can then do, obviously, in that scenario, around 6 times more engaging and intimacy. This is the insanity that pisses me off more than anything, which is that people think that engagement doesn't scale. It doesn't scale when you roll like me and you answer everything yourself. But it does scale when you're a logo, a water, a league, a thing. It scales. As a matter of fact, I've been contemplating an Ask Garyvee Show Twitter account that allows me to scale, right? I can have 4 human beings behind the show engaging. You know that's not me because it's a show. Me is me. And so you can scale all day long. Are you and your 4-person team willing to make the commitment to allocate dollars into humans, one that most CFOs and other financial people do not believe in? I believe in it. You?
Mark and Patty ask, what's better for content, blogging or blogging?
Mark and Patty, this is a great
Both.
question, and this is something that I'm really glad you
No
asked this
friction.
question because I've been
Drilling? What is going
Willing
on?
to drill. I've been hoping to drill this home for quite a...
Hold on.
And I used to address this back in 2007, 8, 9, definitely 09 and 10 during the Crush It tour and the Crush It days. I answered this a lot. Haven't talked about it as much the last 4 years. That's why we do the Ask Garyvee show. It allows me to rant about things I've forgotten about. The answer is, I don't know. The answer is very simple. What are you good at? You can crush it doing video blogging, and you can crush it doing blogging. I mean, it just comes down to what are you good at? Are you better at video? Since I've started this show, I've already seen 11 to 12 Ask shows pop up of people that follow me, of people that pay attention to what I'm doing. And, you know, very honestly, 1 or 2 are decent, and the other 9 are straight crap. With all due respect to my fans, I don't want to diss. That's not a good thing to do. The 11 people that have done it are now sitting there saying, "Did you think I'm crap? Why do you think I said 2 were okay?" I don't want anybody to feel bad, but, you know, some people aren't made out to. I'm not made out to write like myself. I need editing. I need it. I need help. Grammar. I can't spell. I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. I can't spell. But boy, can I make a video.
Drew asks, do you have any tips on presenting your consultant services to a potential client?
Drew, isn't this a funny little yin and yang 1-2 with the last question? I don't know. I mean, the answer is, are you good at making a PowerPoint? Can you make a video that's like a little bit of a better? Or can you sell like me, which is forget everything else and just walk in and close the deal? There are the last
I like that
questions
style.
are questions that happen all the time, and here's what I will tell you. I appreciate the kind words, the tweets, the admiration that I see in the comments. I've been following very carefully. It's been so fun. The feedback's incredible. I really appreciate it. But let me tell you one thing. What works for me does not necessarily work for you. So many of you do so many things better than I do that it makes me want to vomit on this football. Like, you know, and what you need to do is take a step back, ask your friends if you're not self-aware or EQ-oriented, but you need to figure out what you're good at. The answer to your question, to the last question, and the answer to a lot of things I'm seeing using the hashtag AskGaryVee are very personal questions that I would never know unless I've known you. I know Zach, right? I know Steve, right? I know. Is it around your neck? I don't care. I'm taking it. Yeah, that's right. I know. Don't worry. Don't worry. Oh, shoot. This is way heavier than I thought. I know D-Rock, right? I know these characters a little bit. Like, I know I'm getting to know them more. I have a sense of their strengths and weaknesses. And I would like to think that if you ever talk to them on the corner street or at a conference or you talk to them on Twitter, I spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to put them in the best position to succeed based on what I think they're good at. And I could do that for you if I had a lot of time, but I don't. And the reality is very simple. You need to figure that out. The answer to that question, the one before, and the one that so many of you have, is predicated on your natural God-given ability or the things that you've worked very hard at to amass that skill, period.
Michael asks, what criteria do you use to determine if what you're creating is valuable?
Michael, for me, this is a really interesting question. It depends. Are you talking about, is the content that you're putting out valuable? Because I talk a lot about that. And, you know, that is, you know, what I use on that criteria is actually engagement numbers. I mean, just raw numbers. How many people are sharing? How many people are leaving comments? You know, how many people are watching the video? Like, that's a very important, very basic engagement number. That helps. You know, that's one baseline number. The way I really do it, like, overall, is how many people are buying it, right? How many books did I sell because I provided so many global jabs that you on the other side of this camera felt like you needed to buy it? How many great pieces of content or best buying ability or pricing that I put out for the wine that I sold during Wine Library that made people buy thousands of cases? How good have I built this company that the Fortune 500 companies and the companies that can afford hiring us, and how often are they hiring us when we're pitching? At the end of the day, the way I judge it is by the results that I'm looking for, whether it's to sell some consulting, whether it's to sell some books, I know it's a football, whether it's to get people to watch and share. Do you know how happy it would make me to see every single person who watched this video share this video? You know, I mean, that's an important thing to me. Anyway, I didn't do the subscribe button last episode, so I just want to do one big one. Thanks, T-Rock. Question of the day. I've decided that I want to show up right now. I'm getting very YouTube-y and I've decided that I want to show up on some YouTube celebrities shows. Looking to travel, looking to tape stuff, looking to hack. Any suggestions? Whose show should I randomly show up on? You keep asking questions, and I'll keep trying to answer them. Question of the day. Oh, you got some? You do have one more. Well, then let's go to it. On this episode, I talk about my next book, money and tennis.